what do you see that I don't see? What are you awake to? What's this whole thing about? That was some the common question I would get asked. You know, that's just the problem if you think about it. I didn't know how to explain it really because I was really in learning mode. So I really didn't have this type of outlook on what spirituality was at the time. So I would just tell them, that you should
You
read
read this.
this book or try to understand it by, do some research. But I guess at this level that I'm at now, to where it's pretty much kind of like second nature to me, like really, it's not that the spiritual person sees
Okay.
a world that other people don't see this, like we can see into that the your regular eyes can't see. Imagine that you see a picture, and you know how people use filters.
I still look like a dog.
Imagine you can see through the filter. Or a better example, imagine, say you see, say you see a plant, a bird. Say you see a tree, and you see this tree waving in the wind. You know that it has roots that go into the ground and connect it to other trees, and you start seeing all the nature. You know that these roots in the tree go all the way down into and go to rivers and get water, and it produces air. And produces fruit or whatever, and you start seeing it as a beautiful thing to look at, of nature. Your friend might just be looking at it like it's just a tree, you know. It's just it's just an apple tree, man. So it can be a good and thing. It's like you seeing things for not for more than what they are, but for exactly what they are, good or bad. I'll say it's not that they're seeing something extra. It's more beyond or what's really there instead of what your concept of it is. Um, like I said, a lot of spiritual people work with ego, and ego is really just like a mask that you carry around. It's not the real you. So it's like seeing behind the makeup of things. It's not really just seeing something that's not there. You see it, I see it, but it's a certain way of looking beyond what's presented to you or what they want you to see. Imagine a person who never been to the ocean and they see the ocean as a picture and they start to think that they know what it's like. They start to see, oh, boats go on it, fishes are in it. They have this type of non-tangible outlook. They don't have a physical idea of it. They just can believe in the concept of it, what they see, the light shines off of it. And then say one day they go out to the ocean, actually first time going to the ocean, and they go, man,
Oh, it's cold.
oh my God, this is what the ocean actually is. You feel the way that it moves around your body when you swim. And like I said, you kind of get these type of senses start going off in you when you awake. That's what it can be like waking up. It's the difference between the photograph and the actual thing that the photograph shows. It's the experience. You know what I mean? The experience that you get. It's a suddenly the world becomes more alive. Because everybody had this knows what this feeling is like when the world just seems a little bit more realer, more alive. These experiences bring us when you experience being woke, it's suddenly everything has more relevance to it. It's a little bit more realer than you thought. Most people have this feeling, this realization when they experience love, when they experience fear, or just a lot of things. It's like suddenly you really see reality as just a presence. Reality has a presence to it, you know, and you experience these things through sometimes through good things or through bad ways where it gets real. We kind of lose these things as we grow into adults, and we kind of have to get them back through spirituality. Say you see a child, seeing a butterfly, you know how they're so amazed by it. They're so much in wonder about it, and they're very present in the moment, you know, and it's a magical feeling that they have when they see these things. I mean, some kids just look at their hands and they're so in the moment of the experience until we educate them, civilize them, and we teach them not to really be present in the moment. You know what I'm saying? That's what being I guess awake, spiritually awakened is. It's like that's what you get back to when you awaken, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through philosophical books. So we're trying to get back into that back into our spirit and be, you know, simply entertained with the way the world works, really works. One thing I know for sure, one thing you do learn in spirituality is that there is no separate self. We're all one. We're all one. We're all just experiencing in ourselves through a greater divine intelligence through the universe or something of that order. And basically, what you're doing is you're not saying that there's no such thing as me and there's no such thing as you know, but it's understanding that we're all connected, you know, in a way to where, you know, you don't really see a big difference. Life is everywhere, you know what I'm saying? And we're all just different representations of that life. You know, I'm me, you know, you're you. We're all just different representations of the same thing. You must not let the cup separate you from knowing that there's something bigger outside of you, that there's more to you than that. You're not just that cup of water. You see, we've been taught to identify with the voice in our head, right? I like this, you know, I like that. I don't like this, I'm tall, I'm 6 feet. You know, we believe that as a person, as a growing up, you know, the way society teaches you is that you are that voice, right? Well, the awakened person understands that they're not that voice, right? Thoughts are passing through you. They're you're seeing the thoughts go across in your mind, right? If you're seeing the thoughts, then are the thoughts you? Who's the one watching the thoughts? If thoughts are going through your mind, you know, you're not the thoughts. Your mind is going to constantly think about things all the time, and what we're doing is we're picking those thoughts out and saying it's us. But if you're actually viewing these thoughts in your mind, where are those thoughts coming from? Are you the thought, or are you the one watching the thought? The observed thing can't be the observer. Which one are you? Are you the observed, or are you the observer? This is one technique. This is a level of understanding when it comes to being awake. You know, it's kind of twisty, but there's major eye opening and mind expanding things that happen when you understand the how what this is about. You're aware of the thoughts. You're aware of the feelings of the world. You know, your awareness basically. You're aware of what's really in front of you, what life really is. So, you know, you're not to identify with the things that you see in your awareness or the things you feel in your awareness with the emotions, uh, the energy motion is what we call it. You know, that's what emotion really is. You're not to identify with that emotion and take on a identity, a persona. It's not for you to take into your person. You're just observing those feelings. You're not that feeling, you know. And don't think this is about being delusional or thinking that you're some kind of superhuman weirdo. who's bigger than life itself. It's not about that because that's all ego too. It's really like the opposite. Really, it's really getting rid of the ego, the little character that you've been playing, with the name, the history, little ambitions, the things that you think that you want that's so much important to you. It's actually about getting rid of all that because none of that really makes up who you are. So it's about getting rid of the ego, not believing that you're more than what you are, but actually there's a bigger picture than you, actually. Quite the opposite. You're not just some stranger in the universe. You realize that you're not just some little flash of consciousness that exists into this mechanical type of atmospheric, when awakening is like you feel a part of everything. You feel a part of the universe. Um, it's not so meaningless when you wake, when you become awakened. Um, it's pretty much it's like everything happens for a reason. You feel more of a connection. Like I said, more of a it's what they call it. You feel like more of a sense of duty, a calling. You know what I mean? Your expression of the ocean as a wave. You're a wave in the ocean. The ocean decided to express itself as a wave. It would be like the wave trying to separate itself from the ocean. If there was no ocean, there would be no wave, right? It's that knowing or that feeling of connection that you're awake to. And you come and you start to see things for what they are. That's a beautiful feeling also. Becoming awake, like you can't see east without west. Like, I mean, you can't even go east unless you're already on the west. But like you can't there's no up without down. Like how would you know you're up if you never been down? You don't know what's up is. You would so it's like, there's no life without death. Like everything is connected. It's a very joining feeling of connection. That's the connection. Everything is connected. So you know what I mean? There's no me without you. There's no self without other. You know what I mean? It's like I said, we're all one. It's a very connected feeling. Most people see the world as a big collection of separate things that um, occasionally interacts with each other. It's just not the way it works. You see the world a little bit different. Harming another person would be like harming yourself. It wouldn't be in your best interest, to do that, to hurt your own self. And it's not about being trying to be a good person. It's about being it's the intelligence of self. Once you understand what self is, once you understand yourself, there's a higher intelligence that it's like some you become, like I said, spiritual. It's a spiritual thing. That's why they call it spiritual, because you're in the spirit. You're inspirated by this. Your inspiration goes up, and that's just really what in spirit means. It means to be inspired to. When you hear about cheerleaders, it's almost cheering for life in a more different way. Think about it. When you see cheerleaders, they say that you must be in the cheering spirit. They're in the spirit. I don't know. There just was a little something I wanted to throw in there with that. I think, that's pretty important. Another thing that the awakened person kind of realizes the intelligence of nature, the intelligence of the universe itself. Becoming awakened, you all of a sudden you don't really look at the intelligence as just being a person or animal, and everything else is just some kind of mechanical, dead, no soul, no spirit having, everything else just that doesn't breathe. You start to look and see life in everything. You know what I mean? Like kind of like I said, it's almost like I said, the awakened person looks at things like that. Not just looks at it like that, but realizes things like that. I mean, that in itself is kind of weird. I mean, how can conscious things come from an unconscious universe? How can something intelligent come from something that's not intelligent? It's becoming awakened to that nonsensical idea too. Just realizing how much the things that we were taught doesn't make sense too. That's another um, pro that comes with being awakened. Um, you must become aware of that intelligence, the unseen intelligence. The awake person understands that they're not the one beating their heart. They're not the one growing their hair right now. They understand that the same thing that does that for you is the same thing that grows the fruit on the ground, that grows the fruit on a tree, that grows the grass. The same, you're a part of the same machine that it takes when you blink your eye unconscious. You're not consciously doing these things. You're not consciously making your heart beat. You understand that you're a part of a much of a bigger program. And the same thing that makes that happen for you is the same thing, the same life, the same energy that is connected to nature, making nature produce and do certain things. You're a part of that system. Congratulations. To think that you're in control, that's just another thought in the consciousness stream that you believe is you. You believe that you're the controller, that you're controlling it all. Um, you're no more than a wave that's being waved by the ocean. No more, no bigger, nothing more, nothing less. Just a wave being waved by the ocean. Gotta look at it like that, in order to understand the concept of it. I mean, it sounds crazy at first. Most people, when I explain stuff like this to them, they say, "So what are you saying? I'm not that I'm with this control thing. I'm not in control. Are you saying what? I'm like a puppet, mother?" and and it's almost still viewing this thing as a separation. You see, that's a mind frame that you have to come off from up under because that's still separating yourself from the big picture. You know, the awakened person realized that they are the controlled and the controller. You are what the universe is doing at this particular time in this point in space in this moment right now. What you are doing is the same thing that the universe is doing. So there's no separation. It's just at this point in time, you are an expression of a bigger picture. And this is something that you kind of awaken to. And when you start to understand these things, it's a big release that you feel. A big release. All that anxiety that you feel about are you doing this right? Did you make this on time? Or are you doing this right? Or did this go right? You understand that there are no mistakes in the universe. The whole process, you are the process, you know. So the mistake was just a part of the process. Like it's so like such a conjoining feeling that you feel so connected. It's like you start to understand these deep concepts, you know. Another thing, awakened people actually have a peculiar way of looking at time. There's a belief that time is, it's a clock. We see a clock and it's about linear things. It's about how much space width we have into this measurement of time that we have. The spiritual person, the awakened person, actually only kind of lives in the now. What the past has already happened. Future isn't here yet. The only thing you can do to make sure that the past and the future is really controlled is what you do now. So based on what you do now determines your future. And in the future, you'll look back on that moment in the past and say, you see, so right now, this is your controlling your future and your past in the now. So if that makes sense. The awake person likes to live in the present because they realize that that's the only place where life actually happens. Most people are not really here in the present. They're usually trapped in some type in their head, either in some type of memory of the past or the fantasy of the future, which is really isn't even doesn't exist. It's not that spiritual people don't awakened people don't plan for the future or look at their own past. It's that they don't confuse those mental activities with what's reality. They understand that that's, like I said, they're observing their thoughts, and some of the thoughts derive from either the past or, you think about the future. It's very important not to um, confuse that with reality, and that pretty much wraps it up. I don't that wraps it up for me. I don't want to take too much of your time. I just wanted to get that message out. I mean, there's a lot more I could say about it, but leave a comment. Hit that like, subscribe. Let me know how you feel about it. Because these things are important to shed from your beliefs. You should get rid of these type of belief systems before you even try to attempt to even a lot of people say opening your third eye, all of these type of things. At first when I used to see those things, I used to be like, it's kind of weird. You know what I mean? Why would they say that? And until I did it at a time where I wasn't ready. You know what I'm saying? And boy, I lost a lot of friends. Is why, you know, it's gonna go into my next video that I make. You know what I mean? The pros, and if you're not ready, if you like to hang out with your friends, if you like to not do too much productive things, you want to, be a social person, if you want to be scrolling through your phone, and if that's fun to you, don't wake up, because you're going to see through all of that. It's not going to be, you're going to lose friends and all of that type of stuff. You know what I mean? The more you wake up and see what's real, because you'll realize a lot of people are stuck into zombie world. Peace.